fuck? Read the disclaimer. Hello everyone! For this video, we'll be reviewing the Pro Series Triple Threat 3-pack. Alright, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel and comment your thoughts. But don't forget to check out mollabays.com. In mollabays.com, we have recently restocked on Beyblade X. Not only that, but we're pretty much getting through all the accessories, anything else that is remaining. And we're pretty good right now. So it's an optional way to support the channel. I appreciate any support regardless. Alrighty, now the one thing I want to really mention, which is really disappointing, is that first of all, okay, we found all these listings way ahead of time, months and months and months in advance, and I think it was like Triple Threat or whatever, right? And I was like, okay, I'm waiting, and the only thing that's remainder for like Pro Series is like Colossal Helios, and I think Quad Strike's just the quad creature stuff. After that, I am like very confident saying that for Burst, that is it. And for some of the last few releases of Pro Series, some of their choices like Infinite and Mirage, okay, but this is an example of a pretty crap choice they gave for 3 bays in this. So they essentially picked, while these aren't 100% near stock, but these are almost nearly just ripped from the random booster where it had the black and the gold bays. And it really like pisses me off because they could have done Hollow Death Scyther that could have had the metal chip core if they wanted to put it in there. Like Curse Satan, World Spriggan, Banger 3-pack, Insane Value, would recommend, or 3 prize bays that were from, you know, like any of those choices I just said make so much more sense. Who cares about this? Okay, they threw in the metal chip core, which is awesome, but these are just very stupid choices, and I guarantee you that they only picked these 3 bays probably because Hasbro has a catalog and they're trying to find whatever is their cheapest options possible. Like all 3 of these rings don't have gimmicks at all. They're probably just trying to try to find, okay, what can we do that's like the easiest thing? But honestly, even then it's like, I don't know what the hell they're doing at Hasbro HQ. They quickly mentioned the price is about $44.99 USD and $74.99 Canadian. So Canadian, obviously probably not, because the Canadian price is absolutely abysmal. That one's pretty much stock, and I think this one, the only difference is they threw in the metal chip core. I mean, either way, we're still gonna go through it, right? But yeah, I just wish, again, they could have done better choices. It feels really like a spit at the fans. It is a spit at the fans because at least if this was a 3-pack for how much you have to pay, which is a teensy bit, I would have hoped they could have given a bit more, man. Coming out. There we go. All right, and then after these are all your stickers for the stuff. I literally just cannot believe they literally just ported the RV stuff. Okay. I want to clarify something just to be clear, because first of all, we're going to do the stress test. So let's go over variant Lucifer. So variant Lucifer, I do have to actually fail, because that one tooth is a little bit gross. It's a little bit gross, to say the least. Then after there is the Super Hyperion 1A, which, I mean, the other Hyperion 1A, I did not see anything that was that notable, but on this one, it's a little bit gross. It's a little bit gross. So that one also fails, unfortunately. The only one that I want to say pass, even though it's not like a teensy, and if it's like a teensy bit, I don't really care that much. Like, come on, I'm not gonna be good. Like, it has to be reasonable if I'm gonna fail or pass it. So no, the 2B definitely does pass. But just again to kind of explain whenever we do these stress tests, so people can understand. In battle, when you are losing clicks, that is a much stronger impact as it is sliding going through the teeth than obviously me just going back and forth. There's a lot more force and impact in battle than there is in what I'm actually doing. So anytime I do a basic click back and forth, if I see that it gets clapped, then yeah, I'm definitely gonna be pointing it out. And I've already pointed this out anyways on the Takara Tomy side if there are bad like teeth designs or that type of stuff. So, you know, 2 out of 3. So aside from just seeing teeth wear, the other way we tried to see is with the durometer, which basically just tries to see how hard a material is. And trying to find the same point, Hasbro Pro Series is always consistently lower. So even though, let's say, the weight's like a teensy bit more on a Pro to TT, if the hardness is less, that obviously means that it's not as tough as the original Takara Tomy, so it's going to wear and stress a lot more. So whether it's literal stress or whether it's hardness, Pro fails every single time. Pro is just objectively worse than Takara Tomy for consistently trying to find the hardness and stress values that it just wears worse. Okay, also to go over in the parts by part, we have our Super King chip, which is Uranus. So just to quickly mention, obviously anything that's actually heavy or has any metal on it, you would probably use. That's pretty much how sparking was. But if you're limited and you only have Pro Series stuff, then you can either kind of consider what I just said or not really. If you have Takara Tomy stuff, then yes, you can consider what I just said. But yeah, with Hasbro here and Takara Tomy, there's always maybe a slight difference in color, but aside from that. So this actually is our ring, which is first. So what I want to really laugh at is that... So one to quickly mention, first is absolutely terrible for like sparking attack type stuff. It's very similar to Super, except more of an aggressive shape, and I think the weights kind of varies, maybe slightly less sometimes. But what's really funny too is that the fact that there's Origin Achilles, meaning that 80K only did this name change because probably eventually they planned on some Pro release that they wanted to do with it. So the name change was redundant. I mean, cool, I guess. Yeah, but side by side, you know, TT Hasbro, maybe slightly more saturated on the Hasbro. That's about all I can really mention. Next up is 2B. So actually what's really interesting about 2B is that 2B, depending on what ring you put this on, it can either be fixed or it can be free spin. Now, there should be a list, there should be somewhere on the side right now. These are whatever rings that are free spin and are not free spin on 2B. So aside from that, 2B stamina I would say was pretty decent. I was gonna say like compared to 1S wheel, you know, how good did it compare, but Pro Series never did that, but 1S wheel was better than definitely 2B, but 2B is primarily used on like equalization combinations, so your Mobius, your Drift during the sparking era, so it was pretty solid in that regard. Really just for that, I would say. It's not like you really used it for anything else. To basically go over this driver, which is Metal XL, which Metal XL, first of all, is a Season 1 driver that is clapped. Now, Metal Lock drivers where they have a metal cap and a dash spring, but first of all, the original one, just to quickly explain, and by the way, there's very much a difference in the color. This is Mold 1. Now, Mold 1 is where these little tabs here are more exposed, so when you slide on teeth, they crack them a lot more and they wear down really, really bad. Mold 1 metal drivers are terrible. This was a very stupid driver and idea from Takara Tomy. So also just mention now with Mold 2 just slides on stuff a lot easier, so while teeth can still technically wear, it's a lot less of an extent. Also just to mention, on any like double chassis, it should basically just be sliding on it anyways, but yeah, very much a stupid driver choice either way. Okay, well anyways, we gotta weigh the part by parts. The Takara Tomy chip is about 3.10. Pro Series is about 2 we'll say 8. Okay, this is the TT one because 6.06. Oh, actually, the Pro one's actually a little bit heavier. You see, so sometimes 3.11, and then after that's like, what, 2.8? This one, I believe, should be heavier. This one's the Pro one, 6.11. This one's TT, 6.06. The Pro Series 2B is about 46.33, 46.48. This is TT, 7.9, 7.53. So again, most parts, they should basically, you should basically see the difference, but some of them are kind of safe, which is always the nice part to see. 63.54? Yeah, 62.79. So this right here is Takara Tomy, and this right here is the Hasbro. So again, Hasbro is a little bit more saturated, and for here it's fixed. I almost forgot to mention this, but first also, it's just a terrible ring. Also just mention this one's called the Dark Flare version. The other ones are like Fire Gold for the variant, and I think it's just like Black version for the Hyperion. But if you're wondering, by the way, on just all that cool little name stuff, and yeah, we'll move on to the next bay anyways. As we get to our Super King chip, which is Lucius, it has metal weighting on it, good for stamina, good for attack combinations, and overall is a solid Super King chip. Especially, I would say it is one of the best compared to everything else because there's no real options that Pro Series has given us. So, yeah. Something that is pretty noticeable between Takara Tomy and Hasbro is kind of like the texturing on the Hasbro Pro Series one. It looks a little bit off compared to the original. I'm not too sure what they did there, but there's just that slightly small difference between both of them. But, you know, I mean, either way, you know, gold recolor, whatever, I guess, right? This is your ring, by the way, which is variant. It's trash. It's not good. It's too light, doesn't do anything defensively. It's worse than Curse, it's worse than Glide. It's not good. If we do side by side with the TT one, can I even notice anything at all? I don't think for this one. I guess you can maybe see slightly with the plastic, but no, that's pretty close. 2G is only good in opposite spin matchups, and what it basically is like kind of, well, it's a little bit hard, but still, it's like a rubber barrier basically. It's supposed to protect you against attack stuff. Really, it's only good against like opposite spin, so right versus left, left versus right, that type of stuff. Next to each other, I don't really see anything that notable in the color. Yeah, either way. Okay, and then after Orbit, why? So actually what's a little interesting is my TT one is a little bit looser on the ball compared to this one. So, my ball's not as free rotating as the original Takara Tomy. The driver is, like, significantly outclassed by stuff in Pro, like, Extend Plus, and, like... This is the TT Super King chip, which is about 5.57. Okay, that's how you tell the difference, 5.34, 5.87. Yeah, so usually for these ones, okay, so the Pro is about 5.95, but... Plastic hardness is still worse than the original TT. About 47.79. 40, whoa, and then after 5.82 versus 6.18. The Takara Tomy is about 65.41, and then after Hasbro we get to about 63.58. Oh wow, that's actually a pretty huge difference, wow, yeah. Yeah, okay, actually I can see the Pro one's a little bit kind of darker, and definitely can tell a difference in the metal and its visual appearance, yeah. Whatever, I still don't care for this. It's kind of whatever. So going over to our parts by parts, where you have your Hyperion 1 chip, so it is pretty nice about this Hyperion core is that it comes with a metal chip core, which wasn't there originally with the random booster one. Also, I think the Hasbro one, I don't know, kind of looks a little bit weird, faded, kind of, or... I don't know, maybe it's just more because it's like a little bit more brightened up, so maybe this is why it feels so weird looking at it. Also to mention, the original metal chip core was like on a limited release before they did it on all these other releases, so to see that it's there, but also kind of unique because it's like a little blue and a little opaque. I actually think that's pretty cool, actually. I mean, it's at least helping kind of the set, at least, so that's at least cool that they decided to throw it in there. And originally the app didn't even have it, so this was definitely like a last minute thing. Okay, now the difference between both of these is definitely now, when I'm looking at it, the Super for the Pro pack is definitely like a little bit more of like I just noticed something. I just noticed, whoa! What? So I just realized this, but the actual sticker on the original one, you'll see that it's kind of like white or whatever, but the one on the Pro one's like transparent, and sometimes I can pick up these things, sometimes they don't, but like visually, I'm very surprised at that weird difference. I don't even know why they did that. I guess it was just a mistake, but I mean, it doesn't look good on the Pro one for those specific sections there. I prefer the original. That was very much odd. I'm actually very surprised. I have no idea why it was like that for that variation that they decided to do. Also to mention this, but in general, Super is not good. Just like First, it's outclassed by things like the Infinite Attack Ring, outclassed by things like even like Brave on 2S. Like, I guess on Super on 1A is like okay, but you know, for overall competitiveness, like it's not really like it's that special. So then after they go with 1A, which by the way, they put an official typo because they say 07, but it's supposed to be 06. It aligns with Super very well, and you know, it's decent for attack, I would say. And obviously, if you compare Hasbro and Takara Tomy, Hasbro just looks like a little bit more brightened up, I guess, on its visual appearance. So then after we have our base driver, which is Quick. Now, Quick is essentially, well, I mean, we already saw the Dash variant, but Quick is like the middle between Hunter and Extreme. Decent control and grip. What's actually a little bit surprising is something I'm actually going to show, which I thought was kind of cool. but also it's not really a dash version, so I still don't care that much. But okay, if you go on the hardness on this Takeratomi one, pretty hard, like 22, 20-ish. If I get the blue one here, about like 15, 14, maybe 16 and a half. We'll say 16 and a half for like kind of, usually when they get the peak, that's usually when it should be. Then the Pro Quick is about like very close to the blue one, I would say. Now essentially the harder your rubber is, the harder it is to actually grip on the stadium, and also the longer that you last. But the softer you are, obviously the faster that you're going to wear, but the more grip on the stadium. So it is neat that the green one is pretty soft rubber, but also it's not dash, so it's not really like, because if you're like a competitive player and you want to use it, it's kind of neat, I guess. I mean, technically it is an improvement over the original for sure, but it's also just like, I didn't like the original Quick, and I don't like even this one either way. Soft rubber is cool, but also there has to be some sort of use, so I do wish they could have turned this into like a dash driver or something. So this original one from Takeratomi is 1.49. I'm hoping it's a little bit, yeah, okay, 1.53. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. The base thing by itself is about 2.2. Okay, and this is the TT one. Yeah, 2.42. So there's a little bit of that difference there. It would be about like 3.92. versus 3.72, yeah, so there's still a significant difference. Okay, now this one's the TT one, 6.34. Okay, 45.32, 45.57. Okay, and then after TT is about 5.67, 5.43. Altogether now we're looking at about 61.49 versus about 60.84. So that's pretty fine for a difference, but I am pretty happy on the rubber tip. It's just, I don't really have any use as a competitive for use or anything. Yeah, very much a difference in the appearance, actually. This is more than usual. I'm trying to think, so if let's say you play Burst Standard for an example, just like WBO, which is just like the main stuff or whatever. I mean, if you had a burst stopper or whatever, I guess you could compensate for that. I mean, it's kind of cool, but also, I don't know. I mean, actually, if I wanted to run 3 rubber attack stuff, I could actually do that now. That's kind of feasible. So I guess I got something out of this, but it's more just kind of like, kind of cool, but also, it's not really, because the fact that it's not dash, it really doesn't boost its value like that for me. So it's more just like a neat thing than anything else, really, in this case. What an odd assortment of 3 bays. Okay, and then after first... Oh, so technically it's 2 attack types and 1 defense type. Okay, so the thing I did do a test on my TT1 is that, yeah, the grip is actually pretty nice. I want to say at least similar to the Blue Lord Quick Dash, which if you want to know, that's kind of like the godfather of quick dashes, just because it's very soft and has a nice grip. Like, what am I realistically going to use that for? Even if I had like a deck of like 3 bays, I could technically run 3 rubber attack, but even for an example, if I tried to do something like a burst stopper or whatever to make sure, because it's non-dash, I don't really know if it's worth it that much for me, right? I don't think it has that overall use. Damn, why? At least they should have just made a dash. Ugh. It was actually very close to something really interesting. Very close. I think that... Actually, this should probably burst, just because of the fact that... I want to give a little bit of a fun fact, actually, that metal drivers slide on double stuff. So... they're always more likely to... Oh, well, actually, this one actually did a burst out of the pocket. So, I mean, yeah. The metal chip core... Okay, I'm really trying to consider this now. The metal chip core, I guess. But I feel like you could probably find the metal chip core by itself probably somewhere else, I guess. What else is there that's kind of interesting? And the variants... Metal XL, definitely not. Do people really care about Uranus is what I'm trying to consider right now. Nice. There's a weird way to try to define the value of this. So technically speaking, it would probably cost more to get like the 3 original booster stuff than it would be the Pro 3-pack. True. But in terms of value, since I'm really trying to think, I don't really know. Like, I mean, the real things that are just carrying it are like the metal chip core. That's really like the only thing that I think consistently is kind of carrying it. But also, I don't know, like, for a lot of Pro Series is also like, people who do have TT, but maybe it would be other chances to get maybe like a better alternative than trying to import the original TT. And like, even then, like, the random booster stuff's really not that special. But if you only collect Hasbro stuff, even if you only collect Hasbro stuff, like the Hasbro Pro stuff, I'd probably still say kind of no. Like, you're really just kind of going for the metal chip core and a non-quick dash. So first of all, the QR code, you have to pause, by the way, in the video. So I think that's where it's the most upsetting. It's mostly upsetting because these are the last few choices, not like they would keep on going and going and going. So if they would keep on going and going and going, then yeah, I probably wouldn't care, and I would say this is just an okay value set. But if like the last one too, it's more of an L than I would say anything else. So for final thoughts, like, listen, like the metal chip core thing I guess is nice, but like I've been saying, if they gotta get through Beyblade X and they're kind of finishing up this verse stuff, considering the fact that we literally found all of these listings so many months before, it's kind of just like a hollow end at the end. Like, it's like, could have just been better choices. Like, yeah, okay, metal chip core, that's nice, but who cares about this? Like, okay, there's first, okay, there's variants. I don't know, man, I think this was really like kind of like an L thing. Because they had the right idea with like the metal chip core, but again, like, hollow is there. If this was like, if they were gonna go with a bang and they did that, I would have been like, you all know what, even if this wasn't Canadian, I could have recommended, but that's pretty much it for this video. So I want to say thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day, and we're almost done the hell that is Hasbro, so bye.